What's up? It's Q Harrison Terry. Today is Everyday's entry 147. And I want to talk about the future of writing. More specifically, the future of ChatGPT in writing. Because it's inevitable that, Microsoft is going to integrate this stuff into Microsoft Word and PowerPoint. We talked about that yesterday and the day before that, like where this stuff is coming. And I just have been spending a lot of time thinking about it. So what does this future look like and what's going to become of it? There's this news segment. I'm not going to play the whole thing.
North Texas universities and school districts today evaluating the best way to handle the growing popularity of what's called ChatGPT.
Yeah, so some educators, they're worried about the artificial intelligence program. That's what it is. That could lead to more of their students cheating. But our Caroline Vandergriff is showing us how some professors are now changing the way they teach in response.
You can ask ChatGPT to write just about anything, from a funny song or a college research paper to even this news story. It certainly raises some ethical concerns in the classroom, but instead of outright banning the technology, some professors want to embrace it.
I think it's going to totally change education.
Peggy Semonson is exploring how ChatGPT could be used in the courses she teaches at UT Arlington.
I actually had it come up with some discussion questions that I tweaked and ended up using, and they were actually quite good.
She sees the artificial intelligence platform as more of a digital muse, a way to inspire new ideas for both students and professors.
Maybe it comes up with an outline, or maybe it finds the references for you, and then you work from those in a human way.
So I think that probably is going to be how we look at the future of technology. This is the AI assist era. Like, I don't think AI replaces anyone or anything. And if you're at this point where AI is going to replace you, you probably don't have that good of skills because it's not that good, right? Like when you look at the output of ChatGPT, it's not that good. Like I'm not even gonna bring it up because I've got to do some more stuff today, and I'm gonna be traveling a bit. So I wanted to get the everydays out of the way. So I'm not gonna actually be running the ChatGPT experiment. This is more so just a thought prompt. But quite frankly, we've all seen the outputs in the last entries. Like, yesterday we did the travel and the travel planner, and it was trash. It was super trash. And I see articles like this by IA.net, and IA is actually a really cool tool. I didn't know about it until this article, so great content marketing. But I'm actually going to try using IA, both their presenter and their writer tool, because, again, I don't think this is the end of writing. They say that soon you won't need to write as much anymore. AI will do it for you. With all the free time we have, we can rethink how we learn, work, and how we communicate. I think that that's true. They talk about Microsoft buying 49% of OpenAI and how, ChatGPT and the AI behind it will become a centerpiece of Word, PowerPoint, Excel, and Outlook. And the majority of business matters are written in Microsoft Office, and so AI will make its heartbeat. And they're saying as an employee, your job will be reduced to barking a couple of fuzzy commands from time to time. ChatGPT will read, write, and think for you. And it's only a matter of time until ChatGPT graduates from Office to Windows itself, so it can run the whole operating system. And this makes the ideas of apps look as old-fashioned as cassette tapes. So it sounds like, pigs inviting the butcher for dinner. Does Microsoft know what they are doing? And this is a very interesting just thought prompt, right? Like, will AI get rid of the operating system? Will AI get rid of people? Will AI run all of the things? Will AI get rid of the operating system and the interface that it runs on so that it just exists? And it's now getting to that Black Mirror point where it's sentient. And that is the basis for just about every sci-fi fiction AI movie from 1980 onward. I don't agree with that. And here's why. I don't think any of this stuff is going to happen as fast as we think it is. Do you remember the cell phone? Do you remember how long it took for us to go from the dumb phone? I think I have one right here. Actually, I do. To go from this to this, it took a while. It took a really long time. Like, we're talking about a delta of 30 years. And this still isn't the end all be all. If I have this, I still have a need for this. right? Like I can't make the content that I can shoot on this Sony camera on this. Now you can make some damn good quality content on the iPhone, but it has not replaced, a film. We thought iPhones would be the end of filmmaking. And we thought iPhones and computer AI generated technology would be the end of, what was that called? Let me think, photography. It hasn't happened. And I don't think it will happen because as much as we like to think AI is this mythical thing, it's still based on logic. And the logic can get really good at tricking you. But when you see the patterns in it, you'll understand that it has some limitations. Now, will it make you more efficient and effective? Yes, it should, in theory. Will people abuse it? I think that that's what a lot of these universities and schools are actually afraid of. But will it be the end of the worker? No, not at all. Like AI came to Photoshop a long time ago, and we still have a room for manual cut and paste. Like when it comes to masking, when you have very specific situations, you still need professionals to come in the room. If you're a mediocre writer, then yes, AI finally gives you a chance to sit at the table with some of the best writers in the world. If you're a mediocre planner, now there's a base level. So now I can raise the skill sets of all the employees to a baseline. And I think AI and the models behind these AIs can help give every company a unique baseline if you train it on the data that you have within your company. And is this heaven? No, I don't think it will end apps or 99% of your subscriptions. I think if ChatGPT is the center place of all apps, you still will need them because it's going to be very specific use cases. Like, again, to my point on the iPhone not replacing every single device I own, did they make it more convenient that I could write something, take a picture of something, and communicate that effectively all from one device? Yes, you can make a PowerPoint presentation from an iPhone. You can do a lot of things from an iPhone. You can replace a gaming console technically with an iPhone. And there's some people that do. But the majority of people still prefer the single-use devices because those single-use devices do what they do very, very well. Like it's a damn good experience. And we as marketers, developers, engineers, we have to think about the things that we're making and introducing because there's now a baseline where you can't get away with that chicken scratch-ish anymore, right? Like that's not going to cut it. And so the baseline layer is there. Is it the end of business communication? If no one writes or reads emails, Slacks, or Trellos, we might as well stop sending them all together. I mean, yeah, you have project managers, you have people that are making magical things happen, and they're still going to do that. It's just the points in the tools that they use will now just have these supercharged components of it. Like there was a tweet I actually saw not too long ago. I'm gonna try to see if I can find that tweet. Of course, when you want to find the things that you need to find, you never can find them. But there was a tweet that I saw that was describing this exact situation. It was like using ChatGPT in your what was it? I'm trying to think. Oh, right here. I think is this it right here? I don't think this is it. I'm not gonna waste this time. But there was a tweet that I had, and it was showcasing ChatGPT being integrated into Google Sheets, and they were populating a lot of the data from the Google Sheets with ChatGPT. And I thought that was super fascinating and a really great use case of chat, because if you can get in front of the input and the AI can just be like the person that goes and collects all the data, the same way that Google has scrapers that collects all the data and then they have an algorithm that ranks all the data, and that's how we get Google search, then we all can have that effectiveness and efficiency. Like how many salespeople have went and searched and hunted their own leads, even though they know where to go and they know the logic to get there. You now have an opportunity to have chat kind of fill some of that information in for you. And there's going to be tons of apps and services that work better because you don't really need that human level input where it's like, okay, go fetch data, go place data, then go crank on data. So we'll have a lot more people just cranking. Communication, AI can't understand how to communicate with you no better than an actual human. And it's actually very hard to read the context and cues and to read the room, as they call it. And we're far from any AI being sentient enough to understand what you're feeling, how you're feeling in real time. So we're very complex individuals, and our abilities to make special things happen is pretty incredible. So I'm for that. The end of bosses, yeah, I could see that. Like middle managers, you could shift AI a bit with that. Like, yeah, you could shift the middle managers with AI. Like, I could see that. Is this the end of income? What do we need to work for when machine simulates work better than yourself? I do think robopreneurs is an era. I've talked about this in the past. Like, we're in the era of the robopreneur. Like, I talked about that a long time ago. And the robopreneur is going to be like the same way we have people that are like, oh yeah, I'm pulling this up really quick. I'm going to see if I still have it. Yeah, so in 2019, I wrote this article here. It was called, We're Living in the Era of the Robopreneur. This is in 2019. It was like, you'll have the standard entrepreneurial checklist that used to go in this order where you identify a problem in the market, generate solutions and prototypes, sell and find a product market fit, create media advertisement, partnerships and promotions. The ChatGPT can identify a problem in the market. It can generate solutions and prototypes. It can write the sales copy and potentially find the product market fit, i.e. the personas that it needs to market it to. You can use Midjourney to create the media. You could use ChatGPT to generate the prompts for Midjourney. There's probably a way to make ChatGPT write the Google sales copy or the Google Ads copy. You definitely can have it write the partnerships email. And you can definitely have it write the promotions copy. So like 100% of this list I can do with a robopreneur. And it's crazy because I didn't know about ChatGPT then, right? Like I was just saying like, okay, we're living in the era of robopreneur, and I was seeing some of the nuances and some of the experiences that were had because of, Shopify plugins that were powered by AI and other things. But now, we're here. So I think that can be a little hard to stomach. Like when you really start to think on like, what is a robopreneur and like, how will you like tax that income? Like, do you need people? Do you have to classify it? And some of the things that are happening on the education space right now, where they're having to deal with like, what is AI assisted writing, is probably going to be very similar, where we're going to have to separate and say, what are AI assisted companies? Like, do we have to denote that? And, Elon is even dealing with that on Twitter, where he's saying, we're going to make a unique identifier for non-bots, right? So there's people, they get verified. Then there's bots, they get denoted by some special marker. And then there's like notable organizations or verified organizations, and then they get denoted. Like this whole verification system is kind of necessary when you get to this age of AI. When you think about the end of you, and I'm going to end this video here soon, but the end of you, like what do you need why do we need you when the machine simulates you better than yourself? I think that's BS. Is that like you're unique because you are who you are. And I mean, this is a much greater conversation, but someone that wrote that, it's just like, they don't understand the essence of humanity and what makes a human, right? The end of language, we don't need to speak anymore. Again, like if you don't want to create a family, you don't want to be there for your loved ones, if you don't want to be there for your friends, if you don't want to be there in general, like, yeah, maybe it's the end of language. Maybe you can just be a mute, but like, I don't see a tool known as ChatGPT, and then it doesn't even understand all languages. Like we saw how it was with Japanese. It barely could make permissible sentences in Japanese. So how is this going to be the end of language? And so this gets me to my point of like what I'm trying to get to, right? Is this the end of BS jobs? Yeah, there's a lot of jobs that will get replaced, but they'll probably get upskilled. So the things that the AI can't do, you'll move the people there, because we don't have a lot of people. And I think that the workforce as it currently stands it's not going to expand much larger. It's going to actually it's going to it's going to shrink. It's going to get smaller. So that's the crazy part here. So it's like, you're seeing some of these layoffs, and you're seeing all this this stuff, the calamities that are happening in the job market right now. But like, there is a point in the next like 10 years where it's going to be very hard to find and place people. So that's also a reason why you're seeing a lot of the innovations in AI happening right now, is because we know we need to augment, we need to do more with less. And so these are some of the technological tools we will be using in the future. So I think some of the concepts, like everyone will probably have an assistant to make them super efficient. That A assistant will have some variation of AI tools and technologies tied in and attached to it. The infrastructure for that already exists. When you're on a Zoom call, there's a Zoom app marketplace. You can have different apps that are plugged in that take meeting notes, that help with fill in the CRM for sales calls and etc. So that exists, that infrastructure. That will probably talk to your AI assistant that will be in your Office suite. So, I'm sure Google will have their version. I'm sure Microsoft will have their version. I'm sure Apple will have its version, right? And think about how we kind of have Siri, we have Cortana, we have Assistant. They're all going to get superpowers by these AI, large language models. It's coming. Trust me. And, if we get more time, will you be able to do more things? I think mental health and wellness will probably allow for people to get the time back. If you're in a grind, probably not. Like, you never really were worried about that. But like, for the people that want that, that is now more accessible, and it's now more of a concern and priority than I think it's ever been. So that I agree with. School will definitely get rethought. I mean, again, schools are struggling right now. How do you retain people? How do you justify the cost of a degree? I don't think that the cheating element is as big as what the underlying problem is. Is like, if the school is whole point of its existence is to teach you how to write, then they have this notion now where if there's an AI program that can just generate your school assignments for you, what are they going to teach you? And so I think that a lot of this is masquerading behind that. Like, oh, let's ban GPT. Like, yeah, you're banning it because you don't want to be displaced. So it's forcing schools to be rethought. But I've been saying that, like, the kids don't have the understanding to read. Like, our literacy rates are trash. That's why we're working on the 1Q9X program, right? And I don't think it's going to get any better, because why? Like, it's not like, calculators existed and everybody became brilliant mathematicians. Most people can't do simple math, not off the top, right? The calculator is the crutch. But to my point earlier, it was the point where we were able to create this baseline. Like, now when you come to a business deal, even if you can't do the mental math or a sales deal, whatever, we expect you to be able to comprehend the numbers. And if you need to pull out a calculator to keep up, no one's getting mad at you. I know still executives that have calculators on their desk, for real. Like, and they pull them out writing deals and meetings. Like, I mean, it's kind of like a way of life. So AI and a calculator, I think that holds true. How we think we spend our free time, I don't see how ChatGPT really I don't see how ChatGPT changes how you spend your free time. How we need to observe AI now, and is it still makes mistakes and reveals the bugs of how it works. Yeah. I don't think we're gonna have black box algorithms in the next 10 years. I think that's a thing of the past. I think the companies of the future are going to have parts of their model that they don't disclose everything for, but they're going to have to add so much transparency, because that's going to be the differentiating factor between you and a company I don't know. So if I'm going to use your AI, what the hell is your AI doing? What was it trained on? What is the LLM it's using? Who's looking at that? How are you generating data to train it? Are you stealing that data? Are you generating that data? Did you rightfully acquire said data? Like, those are the types of questions and ethics that we've got to get to, like, now, because the good companies will be very upfront. They'll say that. The sketchy companies will be somewhere in the middle, and the bad companies, you won't even know. They're just going to take. And so the security of these LLMs and just these large data sets too is going to be a big business. Seriously, cybersecurity is really excited by the rise of these AI tools, because if you are a cybersecurity professional, your whole job is to basically protect these large data sets now. And here's the kicker. You like OpenAI because it creates more malware, right? I mean, it sounds really messed up, but like this OpenAI ChatGPT thing already is being used by the dark side to make cybercrime more relevant. And you know, I'm pulling up these things in real time. I lost that tweet, but I got everything else. Hackers are already abusing ChatGPT to write malware, right? Malicious hackers are using a flashy new AI chatbot. It's known as ChatGPT. They can generate malware. I saw another tweet, actually. This is the Axios article, but there was an actual researcher that was going on and showing, you know, how they were generating malware with ChatGPT. And it was an InfoSec kid, but this could be its own episode. Like, I mean, so yeah, I mean, when you think about the crazy stuff that like even cybersecurity for professionals are gonna have to deal with, like there are algorithms that exist that just are gonna make viruses that the world's never seen, and just gonna be spinning these things out, and they're gonna be sending them to targeted attacks, and like just how phishing and social engineering works today. Now I've got programs that can just spin these things out, and that I think is going to be one of the bigger areas versus kids cheating, because like you got the kids that can figure out how to cheat with ChatGPT. They're really not that stupid, right? Like, because this is not you've seen me do this prompting stuff. Like, if you're fooled by the mediocre prompt, then like again, you shouldn't be a teacher. If you're, because like you can even just ask the kid like, how did you know this word, or what made you choose this word? And if they can't really explain, like any good writer is going to say, well, I chose this sentence because this, or when I was writing this, I had this exact moment where, you know, I actually experienced this, or I read this and I was compelled by it. So I think explaining the work the same way it is in mathematics is going to just become a more common notion. And that's better because it's now a 360. Like you have to write. So you have to, like, let's say you have to think, you have to contribute, and create. So you have to think, create, and then you have to comment or explain said process. That's a better process versus just say go think and create and turn it in. I'll give you a grade back. Like there's no communication loop there. So I do like the fact that we're gonna have some loops of communication, and ideally that those communication loops build stronger community, and in that stronger community and us exploring the ideas, people can say, hey, like I just had writer's block and I didn't know how to use, I didn't know how to say it, or I had a deadline, I knew I had to hit this, so I used chat to color in the details, and I went and replaced it, and I used another AI to sequence, but I spent a lot of time on gathering the research. Like I still respect that kid because they've got, like, everybody's not going to be a writer, and you know, I don't know how to say this, but as a writer, like, I'm not that worried about ChatGPT. Like, I'm a published author. Am I going to go use ChatGPT to write a book? Hell no, because it doesn't have my style. It doesn't have that fingerprint. Yeah, you can train it on an LLM, but it only knows the past. It doesn't know that the fact that me as a human, I'm going to constantly evolve. I'm going to constantly be growing. I'm going to constantly be seeing things differently. And that's the perspective that's unique to me, not an AI. And there's no AI that can copy that. So what AI should really do is make everyone get on their ish. Like, go get on your ish. Go do something. It should move you. It should motivate you. You should be like, man, there's an AI out there, and it's learning how to do cybersecurity. And I'm a cybersecurity professional. I didn't read anything today. Well, get up, go get on Twitter, go get in a publication, and go figure it out right now. Not tomorrow, not the day after, right now. It just take the first step. And if you take that first step, I promise you, and you start right now, AI ain't keeping up with you. It's not. It's not. I don't care what you say, what it's training on. Right now, it's still regulated by past. You're in the present. This is the future. The AI might be smart. It might be able to throw you some tricks, but it cannot beat you in the future. Because if you keep building that index, you're always going to be growing, and like you're not going to be guessable. right? Like we're humans. We've never been figure outable in that sense. I'm making up words now, but it's like, you know, we literally are the definition of like, you know, illogical beings. And so when we talk about like logic, computers and AI are based off logic trees, large language models. Like, they're modeling things, and they can guess 100 billion ways. But you know, there was no AI that told us when a pandemic was going to happen. And I could keep going. So, no, AI is not going to take your job if you're a writer. And if you're a sketch artist or a concept artist, then like let's have a different conversation, because Midjourney is pretty good and pretty fast. But if you're any type of creative that requires deep, thought-provoking work and you don't put out a mediocre output, you still got a job. But it's just time for you to show up.